Welcome back. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darwell, gave an update on the suspected outbreak of COVID-19 at the Royal Bahamas Defense Force base on Inagua. In the House of Assembly this morning, he clarified that isolation measures have been taken after 11 officers tested positive for COVID-19 using the rapid antigen test. The health minister says officials at the Defense Force base in Inagua have ensured there are adequate safety measures in place to control the spread of the virus.
Up to last night, about 10 o'clock, we were in discussion with the commander of the base. It's our understanding that some people travel abroad. A test was done. One person was symptomatic. That particular person was unvaccinated. And then there was some preliminary tests done on some other members. So it was 11 people suspected of being COVID positive. One of the things I'd like to say is that the Royal Bahamas Defense Force took it upon themselves for extra security until they were able to reach the Ministry of Health to determine exactly what to be done.
Minister Darwell says the Department of Health has sent kits to Inagua for additional testing over concerns that the rapid antigen test may have presented false positive results.
This morning, we had some kits went down to Inagua for RT-PCR testing to determine whether or not they were truly positive. Because the circumstances are, if you're vaccinated, you definitely will produce antigens. And so if you use a rapid antigen test, you will pick up antigens, but that doesn't mean that you have acute infection. And so this was worked out last night between 10 and 11 o'clock with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and everything is under control. And so today we are doing some additional testing.
Minister Darwell reminds Bahamians that there is always the possibility of COVID spread, but that there is no need to be alarmed at this time. Predominantly men would be on the front lines in the fight against drug trafficking throughout the region. Well, that is about to change as women will now play a bigger role in counter-drug law enforcement. In this next report by LaTanya Roberts, we hear from a major general in the U.S. Army on the impact teams that include female officers can have on operational success.
As the world is advancing in technology, it is also taking strides to advance gender equality in the workforce, particularly in counter-drug law enforcement agencies. Today, the Inter-American Drug Abuse Control Commission and the Organization of American States commenced its second day of Strengthening Gender Equality in Drug Enforcement Agencies workshop at the National Training Agency. Director of Logistics and Engineering, Major General Constance Jenkins, says that integrating women into our institutions is efficient.
We are advancing the mission in collaboration with all of our neighbors and all of our partners and allies. The Bahamas specifically is a critical partner for U.S. NORTHCOM, and the strength, resiliency, and interoperability we share with the Bahamas is reinforced by our shared commitment to meaningfully integrating women into our institutions and forces. We recognize that integrating women into our organizations is not only the right thing to do for half of our population, but it is a smart thing to do if we want to be as effective as possible. The nature of threats that we commonly face require diverse aptitudes and skills, a keen focus on the human dimension, and the dynamics to driving an effective response to the threat.
Major General Jenkins also says how impressed she is with personnel of Bahamas law enforcement agencies.
This challenge is not simply a matter of creating space for diversity. It is about creating exceptional organizations that leverage the best talent of our organization and of all of our populations. U.S. NORTHCOM is excited to be collaborating with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and Commodore King and all of his amazing leaders in the RBDF. I visited last year in November of 22. It was my first trip here, and I was very impressed with the professionalism, the amount of women that were incorporated into the decision-making and policy, and just in general, everything that was happening here.
Major General closes off by saying that although they are highlighting women, women do need the support of men to outgo operations.
From my own personal journey, I know it isn't easy to be among the few or the first or even the only in the room, and we cannot do it alone. We need our male counterparts as well as women as allies on these journeys. To the men in the audience, thank you so much. You play a huge role in creating diverse teams and in bettering our institutions. We need young men and young women to see how our national defense and security leadership are prioritizing diversity and how men are championing women who aspire to build a career and to serve their country. Improving conditions for women in security and defense isn't just a nicety, it is a necessity and a national defense imperative. We stand ready to support you and learn from these efforts.
Although the key objective to the workshop is to strengthen gender equality in drug enforcement agencies, they are working to provide specialized training in order to increase the knowledge and capacity of women officers. For Jcn News, I'm Latonya Roberts.
Thanks so much for that report, Latonya. Young Bahamians continue to show that all is not lost despite the antisocial and crime challenges we may be facing. While some youth find themselves lost to the clutches of crime, there are still many more positive stories of young Bahamians excelling and thriving. One of those is young Lavaria Store from Andros, who shares with JCN her book, which she wrote at the tender age of 11. Cale Campbell reports on young Lavaria's accomplishments.
In the backdrop of the murder count rising almost daily, there are still stories that give Bahamians hope and remind us that children are the future. Leading the way, 11-year-old Lavaria Store tells her story of keeping faith alive in her authored book, A Kilt Called Life, where she details her journey of overcoming trial and tribulation.
It is about my life's journey, outlining some of my experiences. Moments of sadness, joy, anger, and peace, and how each of those experiences shaped me into the person I am today. Each chapter encourages children that are going through similar challenges that they can overcome their challenges as well. During my parents' divorce, that was a big challenge for me. It was hard, and I didn't know if it was my fault. I want them to take that whatever they're going through, that they can overcome it, just like I did.
The 6th grade prefect of Low Sound Primary Andros shared with Love 97 her aspirations to one day be a doctor, as her mother, Alicia Storr, was by her side in full support. The Low Sound primary teacher spoke of how she learned things about her daughter through the novel authored by young Lavaria.
Last year, May, my daughter came to me and she told me that she wanted to write a book because she picked up a book that I wrote back in 2018. And so, of course, I told her, just put pen to paper, jot down her ideas, and then even if she doesn't come up with a title, then by the time she's done, then she can figure out what that she wants a book to be about. So the whole process took about 6 months, from her writing to getting the illustrations done and to publishing. It was an eye-opener for me because a lot of the things that she experienced, she kind of kept it to herself, and it wasn't until she started journaling and writing what she wanted to share in her book that I was aware of some of the things that she was actually going through, bullying and all of those other things that she mentioned in her book. So in a sense, it gave me an opportunity to talk to her one-on-one about some stuff and how she can overcome them.
Presenting the book to Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Gladys Hannah Martin, who showered Lavaria with encouragement and congratulations towards her accomplishments, stating that she is yet another shining example of young Bahamian excellence.
Well, I think that what is interesting about this young lady is that she's from Andros, and it shows the importance of appreciating and understanding that we are an archipelago and we have talented Bahamians throughout the entire archipelago. She's at Low Sound Primary, and I've looked through this book, and it's such an honest, incisive, poignant observations made by a young lady still in primary school, and she's extremely articulate, and it just, it exemplifies and demonstrates the power and potential of our young people in the right circumstances. Her mother is a teacher, and you see that obviously that influence has inured to her development. But every parent is a potential teacher, maybe not professionalized like a trained teacher, but in similar positioning, and it shows the importance of parenting to child development, student development. So we are very proud of her. I understand the book is on Amazon. It's not a bit long book, but it's really compelling, and I think it's a beautiful piece of work from this young lady.
For those interested in purchasing a kilt called Life, it is currently available on Amazon, or one may reach out to either of Lavaria's parents at 464-9083, 431-6709, or interested persons may email lavariastore@gmail.com to purchase a copy. Lavaria says that she plans to present a copy to Governor General Cynthia Mother Pratt and hopes to make copies available in local stores as well. For Jcn News, I'm Cale Campbell.
Thanks for that report, Cale. And finally, if you are on Grand Bahama and you love professional boxing, well, get ready for All Out Boxing. It's a show presented by Sherman Caribbean Tank Williams and Floyd Seymour this Thursday and Friday nights, January 25th and 26th at the BUT Hall in Freeport. Organizers say get ready for a knockout event as boxing clubs from all over the Caribbean, they unite to give tribute to our local boxing legends. Here's Grand Bahama's Tank Williams with more details.
What's up, Bahamas? Sherman Tank Williams. One love, Happy New Year to all of my family, friends, and fans. I'm looking forward to the 24th, 25th, 26th Freeport, Grand Bahama, first annual Sherman Tank Williams Floyd Seymour National Pride Championship. Be there or be square. The whole purpose of this platform is to give young people something to do, use boxing as the vehicle to produce future champions and productive citizens. Let's come out and let's support these kids. Let's support All Out Boxing Club. Let's support the Grand Bahama Association.
Doors open at 6 p.m. on Thursday and Friday, and tickets for the boxing event, just $10. This event has been sanctioned by the Bahamas Boxing Federation and the Grand Bahama Boxing Association. According to Williams, the event is aimed at giving Bahamian youth, like he once was, alternatives to crime.
For me, it all started in Freeport. From the root to the fruit. Been there, world champion, continental champion, heavyweight champion in China. I've been up against some of the top heavyweights in the world, including slaying Evander Holyfield, who is outside of Muhammad Ali, is slated to be one of the greatest American heavyweights ever. So it's been a privilege and it's been an honor. Grand Bahama, come out, let's support these kids, let's support All Out Boxing. National pride. One love.
In addition to the 2 nights of boxing on Thursday and Friday, on Saturday night, you are also invited to support the first Sherman Tank Williams and Floyd Seymour Awards Banquet that will begin at 6 p.m. at the BUT Hall. Tickets are just $50 or $70 if you prefer VIP. That'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jorino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.